Borg and Fratelli goes from P3. Ticini, Karpushin and Perez go from row 2, with your reigning NTC champion Finn Crackerville from Borelli and Alvaro Lucas on row 3. Nativi, Ethan Sparks and Remy San Juan go from row 4, with Takagan, Galan and Boxberger on row 5. Tamburini, Garcia and Martinez go from row 6. Rounding out your top 20, Mario and Mikey Luis Sanchez, with Alex Longarella going from P21. Your championship leader, Fernando Bahosa in P22, with Gabarini and Ramadipa on row 8. Mario Landa, Almeida and Cantos on row 9. Savino, Gutierrez and Da Costa round out our 10 rows of European Talent Cup talent. Now out onto the formation lap, the cycling lap we go. Now ready to get going. Just one warm-up lap awaits, and it's nearly time for Carlos Cano to see how many points he can claw back. See what the weather gods have planned. Final couple opportunities to get some P1. He pulls into pole position. The red flag waits at the front. That will be taken away after the green flag waves at the back. Meaning everyone is set and ready to go. Renny San Juan has took his original grid slot. You can see that in the background there as the 99 gets ready to go racing. So the green flag waves at the back. The red lights are about to appear on for European Talent Cup Race 1. The red lights are on now. And we do go racing. It's a great start for Fratelli from the front row of the grid, from 3rd place as he looks to take the lead on the run to turn 1. How will that hold though on the braking zone 2, turn 1 now? Karpushin as well put himself into potential podium positions. Carlos Cano already getting his elbows out on the run to turn 1. The launch of the move now is the rest of the field. Alvaro Lucas losing a little bit of ground himself as he slots in just ahead of Ethan Sparks, but it's the 67 of Fratelli that leads the way. Ticini slots into 2nd and Borelli in 3rd.
I was just checking Bahosa's progress. He's already up to 11th. A superb start for the number 69. The perfect start that he could have asked for. As for Fratelli as well, exactly what he needed to get off the line and into P1. Cano down to P5.
Nice and clean for the entire field in this one. 13 laps do remain. A move now being made for Ticini as he looks to reclaim that 2nd position. And Carlos Cano, well, he's sitting inside the top 5 at the moment. Incident at turn 5, and that is going to be a fall. That's going to be in the TV, it looks like. The number 9 falling there at turn 5. So disappointing end to his race. As well, you can see the 94 losing a lot of ground potentially due to that incident. That's Osorio. He came through the last chance race earlier on this morning. But there is Fernando Bahosa, the bright pink helmet, already fighting his way inside the top 10. P7 as things stand. Finn Crackerville, of course, your 2025 NTC champion. He was briefly inside the top 5, soon to be pushed back as Bahosa launches a move down the inside. He's inside the top 5 as there has been a faller at turn 10. Hopefully everyone is okay down there. You can see 2 riders down on the deck at turn 10.
We see 2 riders down. Just to note that Bahosa has been told he can take his long lap penalty. Again, the perfect start considering the circumstances for him, right in the mix of the lead group. Cano defending from Bahosa, it looked like, through the final corner. We will see now whether Bahosa decides to take that long lap now or try and build a gap to the pack behind and come out further ahead, if you like.
Yeah, and a lot of shuffling now being done as he crosses the line. You can see in the TV that was your crash over at turn 5 on the opening lap, but confirmation of that fall for the number 9. As now moves beginning to be made. Almeida was on one of our followers at turn 10. But some real key moves being made. That was Finn Crackerville making moves as Carlos Cano looks to enter his way into the podium places because, well, Fernando Bahosa, he's already in there, already fighting for the podium. The championship rivals go side by side into turn 4. It's going to be Cano who gets the better of Bahosa.
Cano getting the better of Bahosa there, as you say. Perhaps not what Cano expected so early in this race. I'm sure he expected Bahosa to be close to him by the end of it, but not after, or not on the 2nd lap. Of course, the pressure ramping up now for Cano and Bahosa. Bahosa, if he can get ahead, take the long lap and still remain in that top 4, who look like they've broken away as he makes the move into turn 7. A brave move there for Bahosa. Can he hold it through 8? He can, but Cano might be able to get a run into turn 9.
Into turn 9 we go now. It's going to be all about the slipstream. You can see confirmation of the long lap penalties, of course, one of them being for Fernando Bahosa. And well, he's going to have that to do. Remy San Juan has been given that double long lap for his bike stalling on the grid, having to get that bike restarted. But nonetheless, we will continue on the action at the front of things. It continues to be Pertelli leading the way now. Pertelli, he's been such a great force at the front of the field. And there's confirmation of San Juan's long lap penalty as Carlos Cano, unless the number on the green there, he doesn't want to do that too much. It is the European Talent Cup. Corner speed matters. And this is the classic. You tend to see riders run it a little bit too wide.
Running on the green during the race, but not the last lap, you will receive warnings, and too many infractions will see you get a long lap penalty. We just see the run into turn one. It's Pertelli defending from Borelli. Cano swoops to the normal racing line. He's got the slipstream. He's ahead into the braking zone. Can he hold it? With Lucas now into contention as Bahosa takes his long lap penalty. But he did touch the green.
Yeah, Bahosa took his long lap penalty, but has he exceeded the white lines? It looked like potentially did a bubble on the front as Remy San Juan, his hand goes up in the air in frustration as well. But they both rejoin out on circuit. We'll have to wait for confirmation that that penalty has definitely been served. Dorothy's going to have to go in there yet again. Carlos Cano, though, at the head of the field, ahead of Alvaro Lucas. Now, Lucas, we've seen, of course, at Misano, a big high side. It's not affected his confidence at all as he looks for a move over at turn 5. He thinks better of it. Number 4 of Ticini lurking there over at turn 5. He's sitting there in 3rd place, though, with a big gaggle of riders just behind him. A nice big battle at the front. Karpushin also involved.
Exactly what we expected from ETC in these early stages. Cano out in front. Oh, very close to the green through turn 8 there. Couldn't really through turn 9 as he looks to fight for the podium in these early stages as Cano still leads.
Yeah, Cano continues to lead over at turn 10. He's got Alvaro Lucas on the outside, and that's going to invite an opportunity for Ticini, not only to go into second, but also briefly the lead. But he ran it wide, and Cano straight away taking no prisoners. He's already back into P1, already defending his slot as well. We wait to see what Longarella can do. Of course, he had a penalty given to him yesterday as well in the 45, still mathematically in championship contention, also working his way in the order into P8.
Just to note on Bahosa, after that long lap, he has rejoined in P10, around a second off the lead. He's at the back of the lead group, so if he did serve it correctly, it has worked out fairly well for the number 69.
Yeah, of course, I'm sure Race Director will have a double check at that and make sure that everything was served. Right as looking up the inside is Alvaro Lucas. Can he hold on to the lead? No, he cannot, because it's Pertelli from the outside who swoops round on the normal racing line. Borelli still sitting in second as there is Fernando Bahosa. As we look back at the start of things, we look back to the action that unfolded. And well, that was Fernando Bahosa, it looked like, making a move at the start. And definitely moving over to the right-hand side of the circuit. Heading into turn 1, though, things were pretty clean overall, and you can just see how Bahosa managed to make up so much ground round the outside there on Ethan Sparks. As now we do continue on. 10 laps do remain in the action. Karpushin getting moved back a few more positions, and that's now Alvaro Lucas ahead of him. Now number 51 of Dakigan just ahead as well, as Carlos Cano is back, as we do have a follower down there, and we wait to see exactly who that is. Yellow flags, of course, out at turn 7, losing the front on the entry to things, and Fernando Bahosa's name is dropping down the timing screens. The number 14 is down. Fernando Bahosa loses the front over at turn 7, and that's all she wrote in Barcelona. A massive moment in the championship, and this is really going to help the likes of Carlos Cano. So Bahosa down with 10 laps remaining.
Bahosa, he made the perfect start. He did everything he needed to before that long lap came out at the right time. But yeah, a crash at turn 7 ending his hopes, and very much advanced Cano now in the title fight.
Very much advantage, as you said, as Longarella moves his way into second position, now chasing on the rear wheel of Pertelli. He has a good drive. He'll have a little bit of a slipstream as well in the run to turn 1 as well. Well, Pertelli, as we head towards turn 1, 4, 5 wide, 6 wide between the front runners. Incredible stuff from ETC yet again. Karpushin working his way into the podium places now, as it's Pertelli still at the head of things. Alvaro Lucas now in second.
Alvaro Lucas in second. We've just had confirmation that Bahosa has retired from the race, so no chance of the number 69 rejoining side by side with Cano through turn 3. Can he get the move done into 4? He looks like he's just got ahead, but it's going to be close heading into the braking ahead with Travis Borg.
looking at the live championship standings, if the checker flag came out now, it would just be 1 point separating Bahosa and Carlos Cano heading into the final round of the season. Things could get spicy over this next 9 laps of action. We'll wait to see what's going to unfold here, because of course Bahosa's teammates still on the run and still the likes of Tassini for the AC Racing team out in circuit.
Bahosa still has a chance for other riders to limit the damage for him, as we see going right across the green at turn 8 there. I think that was Dak 1. Losing out into turn 9. Yeah, Bahosa still has a chance for other riders to limit this damage for him, but it's all on what Cano can do at this point.
And of course, with that fall for Fernando Bahosa, is going to put out a chance of a championship win this weekend. Even for Carlos Cano, he's of course too far back, just 25 points up for grabs here in Barcelona. But nonetheless, we still have an amazing 8 and a bit laps left in this ETC race, and certainly one that's going to shape the championship. This is going to be one of the races, when we come to the end of your awards that we speak about, this is one of the deciding races in the championship.
It absolutely will be spoken about by the riders and everyone in this paddock, given what's happened, the drama from yesterday afternoon, yesterday evening with the penalties, Bahosa's amazing start, the long lap, and then the crash. It will be a defining weekend in this year's title fight.
Well, yeah, exactly. We were just looking back at how Bahosa was able to make up so much moves on the opening lap, and then sadly for him, everything unfolded. Borelli now back up into the podium places. He pushes Karpushin back to P4, and now moves certainly being made because number 7 into second, slots in ahead of Alvaro Lucas. Now, another corner yet to come at turn 4. Is it going to be the lead change for Pelli and Borelli at the front of things? Number 7 looks up the inside, unable to make it work, as Longarella makes a few more moves now up the inside of Karpushin.
Pelli defending very strongly on the brakes at pretty much every corner. You would see Borelli, he is making the move at turn 5, taking the lead. We also see
a few more moves now being made, yeah, and that looked to be Alvaro Lucas getting moves. And you see in the background here, just losing the front, he was quite wide on the entry, it looked like there, from the brief shot that we got of him as well. Down in the gravel, luckily up on his feet straight away, but you can see head on hands at the gravel trap. He knows how important and how big this moment is.
That would have been going through his mind straight away. Obviously, okay, walking away from the crash, the most important thing. But yeah, losing the front a bit wide on entry, and that's the race done for Bahosa.
And now it's all on what can the likes of Carlos Cano and Alex Longarella do. Longarella, however, hits the front of things. That's exactly what he needs to be doing. Carlos Cano, if he's seen that move behind, if not, it's going to be on. It would have been on his pit board. You would imagine that Bahosa out of the race. Now he knows to be nice and sensible. However, it looks like Karpushin launching the move on Travis Borg, as Carlos Cano, he got demoted a few positions, and since then he's not really been able to get himself back into the podium places again.
It looked like he had a bit of a moment a couple of corners ago, which is why I sort of jumped up in the commentary box. He is okay, he is on track. He has dropped down the order into P7, however, and there is a bit of a gap to Travis Borg ahead, who was miles out on the green through the final couple of corners as well. Definitely something to keep an eye out through the latter stages of this race.
Alvaro Lucas up on the inside, slots back into 3rd place ahead of Longarella now, as 6-7 on Pelli continues to lead. Tension down there in the 72 Archbox Racing team squad. As, well, final couple of possessions actually inside the points. Tamburini and even Sparks taking up them. Finn Crackville, he was involved in this lead fight. Now, though, he has dropped down. However, this lead fight, it's massive. This front group, around 14 riders in distance, as well Alvaro Lucas continuing to fight his way. Lucas has been one of these riders that is not afraid to get his elbows out, and yet again over at turn 5 he looks up the inside. It's exactly what you need to do, because if you're not making moves you begin to go backwards, as we're seeing with the likes of Karpushin.
Yeah, if you're not making moves in the ETC, you are going backwards. Someone will be looking to make a move on you. Borelli looks like he's trying to put a bit of a gap to Pelli just behind in second, but it's ETC. The run into turn 10, the slipstream will be crucial. We see double long laps for number 11, that's Cantos, and 90 for Osorio. That's for taking shortcuts at turns 1, 2, and 3, and without losing sufficient time.
Yeah, of course, you need to lose around a second in that sector. Otherwise, you will be slapped with a penalty for it, as you see a few more moves being made over at turn 10. Definitely a hot spot in the European Talent Cup class, as it's a good opportunity just to get alongside in the braking zone, and at that point, you hold all the cards.
You can get up the inside at turn 10, but even if you can't, you can take vastly different lines through turns 10 and 11, and they converge into 12, where you can make the move. Pretelli on the inside of the final corner to take the lead briefly, at least on the run into turn 1, with Borelli currently just behind.
Now, Pretelli and Borelli, both of them are going to be wanting to take victory here, obviously, but as well, they will need to keep in mind they're both from the Pacino Racing squad, and the last thing they're going to want to do is collide or make any sort of contact with each other, but certainly it's been those two in the top 2 for majority of this race in the last couple of laps, as now Carlos Cano puts a stop to that as he enters P2, and now is on the attack. You see now a slightly wider entry to turn 3, trying just to take more sweeping wide, and trying just to carry a little bit more corner speed towards turn 4.
Try and take the corner speed through turns 2, 3 and 4. Having to defend from Borelli at turn 4. The number 7 up the inside, so Cano into 3rd. But now is the time for Cano to start making the moves. It looks like he actually got the cutback through 4. So can he outbrake the number 7 into turn 5? He can. So he's P2 as it all bunches up right behind the number 1.
Yeah, Alvaro Lucas putting on a pretty aggressive pass there on car, pushing. It seems to be a turn 5 hotspot for Lucas. He loves to make a move through there as he does look up the inside of Travis Borg as well. Thinks better of it on the M-Lab racing rider. Carlos Cano, in the meanwhile, looks towards a move at turn 9. Perhaps he'll just sit behind and try to use the slipstream as we head towards turn 10 yet again.
Slipstream into turn 10, the better opportunity, the less risky time to make the move, as it looks like Cano, he doesn't this time. Actually, he's defending from Alvaro Lucas and Travis Borg right behind him, but he does hold on to that provisional podium spot.
We do continue on. 5 and a bit laps to go. We soon enter the last handful of laps. Some great action so far in this race. I think it's fair to say Travis Borg right on the rear tail unit of Carlos Cano as we head towards the final corner now. Moves have been made here today already, and I wouldn't be surprised in the final lap of the European Town Cup if we see another get made.
It will be the final opportunity for the riders on the final lap to make that move. Of course, you could compromise your exit, which then means you lose it on the run to the line, so it would be interesting to see how these different strategies play out. One thing to note, we are approaching 2/3 race distance, so if a red flag was to come out, results would be called, race would be called, full points awarded. We see Travis Borg going up the inside from P4 across the line into P1.
A great move there from Travis Borg, and actually the likes of Pretelli all the way back down to P7 after turn 1. So Pretelli losing a lot of time there. Meanwhile, the likes of Travis Borg, a real gainer of that. However, Carlos Cano looking up the inside at turn 4. The number 1 hits the front. However, for long, well, Borelli looked for a move to be made, unable to make it work. Cano slightly wider through the mid-corner of turn 4, but he does hold on to things. Will Alvaro Lucas launch another attack at turn 5? Yes, he will. The 46 loves a move here at Barcelona. It's Longarella now sitting just outside the top 5. Not too much we've seen from him in the last 2 or 3 laps, but perhaps just biding his time towards this final 3 or so laps.
Not seeing too much, but as you say, now is the time to make the moves. We also saw Travis Borg and Carlos Cano fighting through turn 5. Borg made the move initially, but Cano was able to fight back straight away. Now has the advantage on the run into turn 10, but doesn't have the slipstream. In fact, he's creating the slipstream for Alvaro Lucas, Travis Borg, and Borelli. Borelli looking to go up multiple places, but can't quite make the move stick. Can we see a crasher?
That's Pretelli. Pretelli's down, and another one of the AC Racing team riders, of course, that looks to be potentially Tassini down on the ground. So a massive shame from both of them. We will continue on to race at the front. Carlos Cano, 2 corners to go before he heads to make it 4 laps remain. Of course, yellow flags out at turn 10 and 11 as Pretelli does begin to drop down the order. There's confirmation of his fall. Definitely not what he'd be hoping for in this one. And actually, Sanchez also dropping down the order too.
Yeah, it looks like it was Mikey Lou Sanchez and Pretelli. Yeah, we had confirmation of the number 55 being involved in that crash at turn 10. A shame for both of them as they were enjoying very strong races. We see Borelli look like he was going to try a move for P1, but decided against it, settles for P2.
You can just see walking away from the gravel trap, it was Pretelli and the other AC Racing team rider that remains in the race. And here's another view of it. So just looking for a move down the inside, you have to say, was Mikey Lewis Sanchez making contact with Pretelli, and then suddenly both riders' races came to an end. So contact and also catching up one of the Australia Lithia riders out there on circuit. So a massive shame for them as well, we continue racing on at the front, but another disappointing end to some riders' races.
Another disappointing, especially for Pretelli, who had been at the front for most of the race so far. obviously a bit frustrated. Sanchez will also be frustrated. He was obviously part of that lead group, showing very strong pace. We see on our time screens, it's Ramadipa now who leads the field, and Cano has dropped down to P7.
Yeah, Carlos Cano dropping down the order yet again, and Ramadipa, what year it's been for him, of course, took his first win over at Magny Cours of the season, and what a victory it was. He's shown that he can be aggressive on this last lap, as has Alvaro Lucas as he goes back up the inside at turn 10. Longarella sitting in podium position, sitting in third place, and of course these little incidents, these collisions are putting less and less riders in this group, therefore there's less people for you to get mixed up in. But Lucas running wide, and now he drops down to P3, promoting the likes of Ramadipa back into the lead, and Longarella back into second.
We spoke about penalties for Bahosa and Longarella, but also Ramadipa was given the back of the grid start, so he's now fought his way perhaps a bit under the radar to take the lead of this race with 4 laps to go. Unlikely he's going to hold that on this long run into turn 1 with the slipstream that his rivals will get, as Carlos Cano once again taking the normal racing line, although we see the number 51 of Daquan also take that line, but it's Borelli who holds P1 on the entry into turn 1.
Yeah, great turn 1 for Borelli. Alvaro Lucas continuing to lose some positions, though he just needs to get himself settled in yet again. Finn Crackerville also entering the top 10 yet again out on circuit. But Carlos Cano doesn't move away at turn 4. We've seen it time and time again from him. Travis Borg wide off the circuit in the background, but he does rejoin, and Longarella moves through briefly before being sat up by the number 1. To turn 5 we go now.
Turn 5, a crucial moment. Are we going to see any moves? It looks like Longarella on the inside of Cano doesn't quite get it done. Borelli still leads with Cano.
He's showing no signs of for the AC Racing team between himself and Longarella, but as we see time and time again in the European Talent Cup, as we go down the straight, usually those gaps close nicely.
We see Longarella, does he make the move on Borelli? Not this time. Cano right behind in P3, up the inside at turn 11. Had to stand up a little bit, stays on the bike, but loses a couple of bike lengths to the number 45. He'll gain those back through the next couple of corners.
Couple of corners left on this lap before we head to the penultimate circulation around this iconic circuit. It is going to be the dress rehearsal as we have a little replay, a little look back to this moment for Carlos Cano. Briefly lost the rear as he got on the power. Nice and, well, not nice and smooth, but nice and hard, and certainly for him, losing a little bit of ground. What can we do, though, on these final 2 laps? It's certainly building to be a showstopper in the European Talent Cup. Will it be Cano? Will it be Ramadipa? Could it even be Tassini? We're going to have to wait and find out as Ramadipa hits the front.
Ramadipa hitting the front at turn 1. We've seen him be at the front of the field throughout this race, despite that penalty that he was given. It's a remarkable comeback for the number 32. We see the tension in the 72 Motorsport Art box.
Yeah, and certainly Carlos Cano's father watching on with a little bit of tension, I think it's fair to say. Watch his son do battle out on circuit. Currently, Cano showing his 4th for the timing screens, but sitting around 6th or 7th position out on circuit. A big moment there for the number 51. Cano's going to take advantage of that as Longarella also looks up the inside at turn 5. It's full on elbows out action. Nobody taking anyone from prisoners for this one. Karpushin up into second as well. He's gone under the radar after fighting his way from about 5th or 6th position.
He has gone under the radar, but now, as we said before, last couple of laps, this is the time to get in position to make the move on that final lap. We see Lucas having a potential look at turn 9. Doesn't look like he made the move 6. Carlos Cano on the run into turn 10 will probably need to get ahead of Tassini here. He goes up the inside, under braking, sliding his way in, and again, very close to the number 4 there.
Very close at turn 10. Lines merging into one yet again. And Longarella, he does slot back into 3rd. He does wait a little bit longer. This is the dress rehearsal, and it is now over. It's all time. It's time for elbows out action at the front of things for the European Talent Cup. Remember, the sole race of the weekend. 25 points here in Barcelona before 25 points up for grabs in Valencia. The championship looks to be going to the final round. And well, what better way to decide this race than a last lap thriller. Ramadipa leads over the line. They head towards turn 1 yet again. But Carlos Cano, the number 1, is on the attack. Watch for Alvaro Lucas as well on the 46 CF motor machine. Now tipping into turn 1 it is Carlos Cano who leads the way.
Leading out of turn 1, he'll be vulnerable down into turn 5. You would think the field will close up on him, and if he remains in P1 into turn 10 especially, but Cano will want to be out in front. He'll look to try and build a gap. Maybe he can work with Ramadipa, who's challenging him at the moment, heading into turn 4. We'll see what happens. Oh, there's a bit of contact between Ramadipa and Borg there.
Yeah, Travis Borg there, a little bit of contact between himself, and will look to be Alvaro Lucas actually out on circuit. Ramadipa running nice and comfortable at the moment in P2, but Carlos Cano at the front of things. Has he waited for the perfect moment to pull the pin? At the moment, he's looking nice and strong, but it's all going to be on what sort of advantage he has on the run to turn 10.
At the last sector point, he was a 10th and a half clear of Ramadipa. That's going to close out through turns 9 and 10. Potentially not enough to be short of P1 on the exit, but it will be close. Will anyone go on the green on the last out? A couple of riders look like they touched the green, so something to keep an eye out for potential penalties.
The inside line Cano has. He launches a move up the attack at turn 10, and he has made it work on Ramadipa. Alvaro Lucas also making some moves, and that looks to be a few mistakes further down the order, so not what he'd be hoping for at all, as we do continue on at the front of things. Borelli now back down to P8, P9 after that error. But Carlos Cano, 2 corners now remain. Will it be himself or Ramadipa? Could it be a last corner move? The 32 looks up the inside, but Cano swoops round, and it is going to be Carlos Cano who takes victory, or will it be? It's a drag race, it's a photo finish at the line, and we await to see on the timing screens who is it going to be. Ramadipa showing 7,000ths of a second. Carlos Cano, second place for himself, but a massive day in the championship. Ramadipa, what a final sector. He built that one up, and it was a drag race all the way to the flag. 7,000ths of a second between himself and Carlos Cano. Karpushin takes the final spot on the podium. Alvaro Lucas, P4 for himself. Travis Borg taking 6th as Longarella rounds out the top 5. Finn Krakenville, of course, finishing P7. Baltasini, after he ran wide over at turn 10, over in P8. Even Sparks picking up a top 10 finish. So Even Sparks on the 62 machine, your reigning British Talent Cup champion, showing once again that he deserves a place in this championship full-time again next year. Let's hope we see something from him. Of course, promoted to the Red Bull Rookies Cup next year, as well as have a lot of these riders. But what a final corner, what a final run to the line that was for Ramadipa. Celebrations beginning with his teammate, of course, the Honda Asia Dream Racing Junior team. A really, really professional, well and truly begin. Here's your race winner, though, Ramadipa. What a moment it is. He's in disbelief, I think it's fair to say, emotional, to say the very, very least. The 32 is P1, where it's going to be an all-out title decider. You can just see there. Ramadipa still enjoying the moment. I think this isn't going to feel real until he's heading back tomorrow, until he goes to sleep tonight. But let's look at the run to the line. It was Cano who led, but Ramadipa, well, fully tucked in underneath the screen, nearly contact between the two of them. And it was a drag race all the way to the flag. And then, as you can see, that's what 7,000ths of a second looks like for victory. That's what you have to do to take P1 in the European Talent Cup.
Yeah, I feel incredible right now. I still cannot believe what I just do in this race, because it's very difficult race, very tough race. First, I want to say Alhamdulillah, thank you to Astra Honda Racing team, my team, Junior Talent team, and also all my sponsor. I just still cannot believe what I just do, but I will keep this momentum and I will keep working hard. Alhamdulillah, ini untuk Indonesia dan juga untuk keluarga saya, ayah. Ini buat ayah dan juga untuk Astra Honda Racing Team dan juga Junior Talent Team. Terima kasih sudah bekerja minggu ini dengan sangat baik. Saya membalas kesalahan saya kemarin di qualifying. Saya harus start dari nomor 24, tapi yang hari ini Indonesia.
Kiandra, well done.
Thank you so much.
What a race we had in Barcelona for the European Talent Cup. It was a tense start to action under the sunshine. It was a great start. We can enjoy the podium. Ramadipa, it seemed like in part Fermi, he didn't think it was real. But, well, this is going to be his moment of realization. First of all, the team representative coming on to the podium. So Karpushin, Yaroslav Karpushin on the podium. First, of course, buzzing down in Park Fermi and continuing to be smiling up on the podium. Carlos Cano, he knows this is a huge race in the championship for him. Back in P1 for the number one. Kiandra Ramadhipa now up on the podium with the Indonesian flag. Shaking hands, of course, to his competitors. P1 up in the air too. And thank you yet again to his team for that one. Now the podium celebrations will truly begin with the trophies being handed out. P1 in the Astra Honda Junior Talent Team. Vicepresidente de la FIM Europa entrega el premio al tercero. Car pushing now, trophy up in the air. And he looks exhausted after that one. It was tough out there on circuit, 22 finishers at the end of things. Now Carlos Cano, punch of the air, so delighted with that one. Well, Ramadipa, this is a day he'll never forget as he gets given his trophy. Jacob Rolston, of course, recovering after an injury, but nonetheless, he's been in the paddock throughout the whole weekend. Now he gets handed the trophy to your race winner as we hear the Indonesian national anthem sing out here in Barcelona. So a few tears as the Indonesian national anthem rings out here.